today. This is week 2 of the Foxy Friends and Be Merry Designer Series paper video series that I'm creating for you to have some different ideas of what to do with these two sets. Again, the Foxy Friends set is not traditionally a holiday or Christmas set, but I wanted to give you some ideas that you could use. Let's get started. So with the Foxy Friends stamp set, you'll notice that this week, instead of using a little critter, I've used the trees. So let's go ahead and take a piece of 3x3 cardstock and the Old Olive Classic ink pad, and I'm going to be taking the smaller of the two trees and stamping that with Old Olive ink. Then I'm going to be taking the 2 1/4 inch circle punch and punching that out. Next, I'm going to do some really simple embossing with this. And one thing I find when I use embossing is that you want to have your embossing tool warm when you use it. Although I don't use coffee, I love using coffee filters. They decrease the static and cling with the embossing powders. So what you're going to need to use is a Versamark ink pad, and we're going to be using the Merry Wishes stamp here, and this one comes from the Oh What Fun stamp set that's available in the holiday catalog here. So we're going to stamp Merry Wishes, and we're going to be using gold embossing powder. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp Merry Wishes over my tree. Sprinkle on my gold embossing powder right over the Versamark ink. Tap off any excess embossing powder. And then with the coffee filter, I can just angle all of the excess powder right back into my container. All right, I'm going to grab my heat tool. And with my heat tool already warmed up, it's going to go super fast. And you can tell when your embossing is changing because the little granules turn shiny. And they don't look like sandy or grainy anymore. And that's when you know your embossing powder has completely melted. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Old Olive Stamping Right marker, and I'm going to use the thin end, and I'm going to just draw a little design on the edge. So here's a 2 1/2 inch circle of the garden green cardstock, and I'm going to use my fast fuse adhesive. Check out my Pinterest page, and I'm going to give some really quick tips about different products, but I will put a tip that I shared in the previous video with the first project about the fast fuse. Again, through me, I am offering a little incentive bundle that if you were to purchase this Foxy Friends stamp set and the Be Merry Designer Series paper, I will include the basic rhinestones for free. I'll send you that for free. Okay, so I put a little rhinestone here on top, so this element is finished. And I never revealed what this card is going to look like. This is called a trifold card, so it has a belly band. And then as you fold it out, this is the rest of the card. Okay, so that's what we're going to continue making. All right, so with my element piece here finished, the next thing I'm going to do is take a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this particular piece of paper has a base of 5 1/2 inches by 12, so 5 1/2 inches by 12 inches, and then it's scored at 4 1/4, 7 1/4, and 10 1/4. Okay, so I've already done that. You're also going to need the Designer Series paper, as I mentioned, and so we're going to use 3 of those. We have our 5 1/4 by 2 3/4, 5 1/4 by 1 5/8, and 5 1/4 by 1 1/8. The last piece of designer series paper that we need is going to be the belly band. And this belly band measures 1 inch, 9 1/4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these designer series papers to the card base that I made. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere those. All right, so this largest piece, this is the 5 1/4 by 2 3/4, is going to go right here. This piece here is the 5 1/4 by 1 5/8. So because I've already used the tree pattern, I'm going to want to make sure to use this pattern. So I'm going to make sure to put the adhesive, or at least try, as I'm sure we've all done bunches of times. Put the adhesive on the right side, and this piece is going to go on the first flap here. And lastly, this piece here was the 5 1/4 by 1 1/8, and that's going to be adhered on the end. All right, so super easy, very simple to add your designer series paper. Now for the inside, this was something I kind of played with here. This is using a brand new stamp set from the Carols of Christmas set. So this is what it looks like. This is a bundle that you can purchase where you get the framelits that will cut out many elements of this set as well. So I'm going to be using the stamp set, the Carols of Christmas. And there's this really pretty wreath here. And it actually comes a little bit naturally curved. And because it's photopolymer, I kind of straightened it out a little bit as I adhered it to my acrylic block. And what I did then is I kind of made my own bow with that. So I used 3 colors. I used the Old Olive ink and I used the Garden Green ink. And then I used a real red marker, and I'll show you that in a few moments. So this is using, first let's go ahead and do the Old Olive. And all I did, as I mentioned, is I kind of straightened out those leaves to make it look more like a garland. And I just inked up my Old Olive ink pad. Just gonna stamp that a couple times. You'll notice I'm getting ink on my block here. You don't want to accidentally get that ink on your cardstock. That would be so frustrating, although I've done it in so many times. Okay, so kind of just crossing those leaves a little bit. And then you'll notice that there's a little tiny circle here that I just used my real red Stamping Right marker and just colored them in with that red color. I also used, in addition to the leaf, I used both of the ornaments. I used 3 Stamping Right markers, the Old Olive, the Garden Green, and the Real Red, and I just actually colored the stamp image in one of the colors, just like this. All right, so that's kind of a fun way to use your Stamping Right markers along with your stamps, your images. So from the same stamp set where I used the Merry Wishes with the sentiment on the front, I'm going to use the Wishing You a Sweet Season. And I'm going to heat emboss that. This is a great way to add some more interest to your cards and projects, is by heat embossing. Now I've got this crease, this score mark down the middle. I'm not going to want to stamp over that crease. I don't want that to be an issue. All right, so I'm going to take again some gold embossing powder and just knock all of the excess onto my coffee filter. Some people are quite nervous about heat embossing. They don't feel like they can do it well, but it's really not that difficult, and it comes out really nicely once you've heat embossed it. And it takes perhaps a little bit of practice, but it's a great way to add interest to your projects. All right, since I have my inner piece complete, I'm going to go ahead and fold that up. The last thing then is my belly band. So this is the 1 inch by 9 1/4 inch, and all I do is I take the designer series paper and hold it what is about the middle with my thumb, and then just gently wrap the rest of the band around so that it can slide, because it is a belly band. And then on the back of the element that we originally made, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of dimensionals here that are going to hold the belly band closed. So I actually can put the dimensionals right on the belly band. So I put one on each side of the designer series paper ends. And then I'm going to now just take my tree and center it here onto those dimensionals, and I can slide my belly band on and off, and I have my very cute trifold card. If you would like me to send you this project that I just made in the mail, feel free to write a comment in the messages below, and then I'll pick a winner and send it to you. Also, please stop by my webpage for other ideas using the Foxy Friends bundle and the Be Merry Designer Series paper, and I'll be posting those throughout the month of August 2017. And I'm also, through me, if you were to order the Foxy Friends stamp set and the Be Merry Designer Series paper, I will include and send to you a free package of the basic rhinestones jewels. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you join me again next week for another project with the Foxy Friends and Be Merry Designer Series paper. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.